Now, I keep hearing people say that they are still using LastPass as their password manager. The only password manager who wins the award each year for the most breaches and worst customer service. So in my mission to make sure people are making good decisions, here is a roundup of my top 5 password managers, along with a few honourable mentions. Starting off with 1Password, who won overall in my last comparison video, and they have become a regular sponsor for this channel, as have many of the other password managers featured in this video. Now, 1Password has one of the nicest interfaces across Android, iOS, Mac, and Windows, with features that are consistently updated and improved on. They have a ton of integrations with the likes of privacy and fastmail, and they've been one of the, I think the first and possibly the loudest to shout about their support for passkeys, which is sort of the next generation of what a password manager can do for you. So no more remembering complicated passwords. Instead, when you log into a website or an app, it will just authenticate directly with your password manager to confirm that you are who you say you are. Now, the list of websites and services that support the use of passkeys is always growing, so it's great to see support for this is included. Now, they also support use of these Yubico YubiKeys, which stops anybody signing into your 1Password account unless they physically have this key. And just the overall support, the community, their podcast, even their recent investments by the likes of Ryan Reynolds, they have made some funny TV ads. Now, they also have 0 trackers in their Android app. It just all speaks volumes for the quality of their product. They also have improved the autofill on Android a lot recently, which I am forever grateful for. They have a watch app and integrates with the Apple Watch Ultra and Apple Watches in general. And their Watchtower feature checks how secure you are with your existing passwords. And they kind of gamified this by giving you an overall score. Like maybe if you're a 1Password user, drop your scores below and see if you can beat mine. But like I said, not everybody agrees with me here. Some have had bad experiences and want to know what the alternatives are. So next up is another great option, Keeper. Now, Keeper also has 0 trackers in the Android app. They encrypt everything and was the overall winner for encryption in the 2023 Fortress Cybersecurity Awards. And like 1Password, Keeper has never been successfully breached. There is support once again for these YubiKeys, Apple and Android watches, fingerprint, Face ID. There's also 24/7 support, passkey support too, which is great to see. The interface is also really nice, really clean. You get custom fields so you can store more than just passwords. And if you are a business or a techie, Keeper does integrate with a pretty wide range of enterprise applications like Azure, AWS, Okta, and just so many more. And Keeper also has a specific version for IT resellers, which they can then resell to their customers. And last one, for business customers, you also get features such as password rotation, which is incredibly useful. And all business users get a free family plan for each team member, again, totally free of charge. Now, autofill works well on Android, and Keeper does have an emergency access feature that lets you give access to your passwords to up to 5 contacts in the event of emergency. This is a great thing if you get, hospitalized and your family need access to things like your insurance information. Now, it's still secure, so they can't get in unless it's a real emergency. All they do is request access. You would then get an email asking you to grant them access, which you can either immediately approve, or if you don't respond within the time frame given, access is then automatically granted to them. Now, there are additional services that Keeper offers. There's a concierge service, secure file storage, and their breach watch service, which monitors and notifies you of any leaked passwords. Now, the next is a old firm favorite, and that is Roboform. Now, whenever I do my reviews, I always check out the online reviews and feedback from users, and Roboform is always one where I consistently see people say they've been using them for years and have no reason to switch. So Roboform has a simple interface, and the product itself is secure, again, never been breached, it's reliable, inexpensive, and one of its absolute strengths is form filling for those busy online shoppers out there, which literally fills in forms of all sorts of data in just a single click. Now, Roboform does have trackers in the Android app, but you can disable these by toggling on the disable analytics and crash reporting section in the settings area. But they do have an option for local only storage, which means that your data doesn't even leave your device. For those of you who don't like the whole cloud sync thing. There is support for 2FA authenticators to secure your account. Unfortunately, not YubiKeys, but secure password sharing and emergency access is also built in as standard. Now, there's also a security center to show you any weak or compromised or reused passwords, and an emergency access feature similar to Keeper's, where you can grant others access to your passwords in the event of emergency. And actually, last month they completed a security audit which went into depth on their systems, checking for any risks, and any vulnerabilities were addressed immediately. So yeah, another really great option for those looking for an affordable password manager. Now, next up is Synology C2. Known mostly for their range of desktop NAS drives, one of which I reviewed last year, and down there, Synology also have a really interesting password manager product. Most notably because it starts from free with little to no restrictions on features, and you only pay if you want to upgrade it to a family account for 6 people. Now, it has a really clean, really easy to use, and just well put together interface, much like their NAS products. Now, there is no desktop app, but there are apps for mobile and browser plugins and a web portal to access and manage everything. You can also share passwords easily and securely, and even choose the location for your data to be stored, which is a nice addition. Now, secure file transfer is also built into the products, and I really like this. It uses all of the same security and all of the same stuff you'd expect from a company who's literally made their name by selling data storage and transfer products. You get the ability to add watermarks and add restrictions when sharing files. It's all just a really nice touch by Synology. Now, they've just started rolling out support for unlocking with biometrics and YubiKeys, and they have an active support community. So overall, it's just another great option as a password manager, particularly if you're already in the Synology ecosystem. Now, BitWarden is another firm favorite that crops up often in discussions, mainly because it is free and it's open source. Now, it's also pretty feature rich. You can send file attachments, there's an emergency access feature, a BitWarden authenticator, and something that none of these others offer you, and that is the ability to self-host your BitWarden vault yourself, which you could say is one of the best ways to ensure that your passwords are safe and secure, assuming that your own security is better than their security. Now, the interface is fairly simple, yes, but the fact that it's free and feature rich for that price absolutely makes up for that. Now, you have to upgrade to the paid version to get support for the likes of these YubiKeys, but that is still less than $1 per month. There is full desktop apps, mobile apps, browser plugins, and there's emergency access feature that we've seen with the others, though that is also a paid feature. Now, being that it is open source, it is a firm favorite with many IT businesses and tech firms, with many other integrations and options available for businesses. All of which, like I mentioned, is completely open source and under the scrutiny of its users at all times. So those are my top 5, but there are some honorable mentions. Now, KeePass is 100% free and also a great password manager. You can typically download and store the password vault on your local machine. Now, you can share this vault if you're on a network, and KeePass wins the award for the most customizable password generator of all times by using this pattern generation if you want to generate passwords in certain formats. NordPass also has one of the nicest interfaces that I've seen, which almost feels like it's been lifted from other password managers that I've featured in this video. But outside of this, again, security looks good and it's another great option. ProtonPass is one that has literally just come out a few weeks ago. Now, I'm still evaluating and will likely include this one in my next annual comparison. But for now, my initial impressions are that it's a great, very affordable option. Now, there are iPhone and Android apps, but outside of that, it is 100% browser-based, though it does have a nice interface, but it does all of the things you'd expect a password manager to do. But the fact that it's coming from a company who makes some of the best privacy-focused services out there is certainly reassuring. Now, the USP here is the ability to create unique email addresses when signing up for services, so you don't have to hand out your real email address, and you get 10 of those unique addresses included, even with the free products. Now, it's also open source like BitWarden is, so I'm going to keep testing this one out over the next year and report back in my full password comparison video, which you can watch here if you like the full lowdown. And I'll see you there.